Coming up,
Building your own, it can take from 12 to 24 months, which is a process. And by that time you would have lost, as an operator, you would have lost some market share, some unique edge in terms of entering the market, because as I did mention, things change all the time. You might find the time that you are launching, the taxation is even higher. There's a whole lot of different things that have changed, and your platform still needs to adapt to these changes even before the final build. Okay, so with building, the problem is a lot of let's say operators, they think you build it and that's it, it's done, and then you just make money forever. Unfortunately, that's not how it works. You're constantly going to be building it. You're constantly going to be building it. It can start from version 1.0 to version 20, version 100, version 1000. It'll depend on how many builds you're going to continuously add on, changing, updating, upgrading. It never ends, basically. You can be a prominent operator, for example, in different markets, but when it comes to Africa, you need to understand that Africa is different, it's unique. You need a solid partner that knows what they're doing, a partner that's been tested, trialed, and progressed a lot of certifications. Yeah, so a partner like SoftSWISS is the partner to be with.
previously. So, do you see cultural change and citizens being more involved generally as a way to achieving more industry growth and maturity?
So definitely, there's been a change in the player in the last few years, from being a taker of what's being provided to having a meaningful impact on what product is requested and required from operators. We see that in the type of games that people play. We see that in the style of games that they play and how they do it, not only by themselves or just as a single player, but how they do that as a group, as a society, as a social circle. We see that often.
Dear listeners, thank you for being part of the iGaming Africa podcast. This session is brought to you by SoftSwiss, a global tech expert with over 15 years of experience in providing innovative iGaming solutions and comprehensive software for online casinos, sports betting, and affiliate management. Remember to visit our website igamingafrica.com for the latest news and updates from the iGaming industry in Africa. Hi everyone, welcome back to the iGaming Africa podcast. Today, I'm really excited to have an industry expert with me, which is Aluwani, the business development manager at SoftSwiss. And SoftSwiss is one of the most recognized global tech provider in the iGaming industry. They've done so much, around from casino to sportsbook and to, crypto innovation, especially in the iGaming space. I'm going to save a lot of the intro for Aluani to take up. Please, can you tell us a bit about yourself and about SoftSwiss?
Thank you for the great introduction, Victoria. Thank you to this great opportunity in collaboration with iGaming Africa as well. So I'm currently business development manager for SoftSwiss, currently based in Johannesburg. It's been quite an experience joining such a versatile company with so much to offer and so much wealth of experience as well that I'm also absorbing, and also engaging with various departments within the company. So it's been quite a good experience from my side so far, and I believe there's still more to come.
Wow, sounds interesting. So, when I first saw the build versus buy playbook, the first thing that came to my mind was how timely it is, especially looking at the Africa space right now. There's so much going on, from the mobile first to so many regulation across from Kenya to South Africa to Nigeria, and everyone, in fact, operators in particular, they're basically in a race to go live. What's your opinion, or how did you guys, was that the motivation to launch the initiative, or what exactly was going on in you guys mind when you decided to go live with that?
So basically, how we came about, aligning or drafting this playbook is based on, operators' challenges that we try to assist them overcome. As much as we are a technology provider, we are always looking for, making way for new technology and making things easier for, our partners, operators, and all third parties that are aligned within our ecosystem or within our technology. So what we realize is that operators often struggle to align technology and the investment to become one profitable unit. So at the end of the day, we try and mitigate risks based on the technology stack that we offer to operators. They know if they get a build solution, these are the dynamics involved. A custom solution, these are the dynamics involved, as we cater for both on our end from the technology point of view. But at the end of the day, we just trying to make sure that we're not selling something that doesn't work, as we've seen with other tech providers out there. They just come into the market and just say, look, this is it, take it and go, you'll make money. And then down the line, operators really find out that no, this is not the reality on the ground. As you mentioned earlier on, Africa is a mobile first market, which means the technology needs to align with that, mobile first technology, requirement, as I would put it.
So, you've mentioned so many things, especially in line with what you consider in launching a technology like that, and not just looking at a money grab perspective. Who would you say this playbook is for specifically?
This is for startups, existing operators, technical providers. It's basically just covering, the whole ecosystem within, our industry. We realize that, there's very little information that is shared out there, and some information is misleading. So we've given it a thorough, research breakdown internally, externally, and then we've combined all that information into a simplified format where if you're taking a build, these are the pros and cons, and then if you're going with a buy option, these are the pros and cons, and then we align towards that in terms of providing you with the technology, and you already know this is what you'll get, this is what will be your challenges, and then we give you options in between those two to say, look, this is how we're going to help you, and this is how it's going to help you technically wise as well, and then you align your investment. So it basically gives the operators a fighting chance to be successful in the marketplace at this point. That's how I would put it.
Hmm. So, looking at what you're saying, I don't know, it sounds like this is more for new operators or first time, maybe African operators. If someone has been in the industry, maybe like legacy brands looking to modernize, does this also apply to them?
Of course, of course. The market is constantly changing. It's never the same. What worked 6 months ago doesn't work at this current time. Things have really changed. Like, for example, if you look at it, right now there's operators in the market that are making more money on certain new verticals compared to like 6 months ago. They were making money on different verticals. So the market is just rapidly changing, especially in Africa, where yeah, nothing is truly, well aligned from the regulatory side of things. Nothing is, what I mean, truly streamlined. Everything just changes overnight. Like even taxation, for example, you can look at markets like Kenya. Tax can be 15% today, and then tomorrow it's 5%. So you also need a system that is scalable towards such changes, which at our end we do have that capability to cater to that. So we are more like the middle, or the, how do I even put it in a better way, we are your partner. Basically, we're not just your technical provider. That's as simple as I can put it.
Hmm, that's interesting. So it goes beyond our first time builders. There's so much more you guys offer that can apply across both all categories of operators. That's really interesting. I think another thing I'm really curious about, we've spoken about like the different kind of, operators now. What do operators in particular underestimate, especially when choosing their own, platform? Is it the timeline or is it the compliance? Because I know you mentioned compliance briefly, like different the way it shifts across African market. When operators think of building theirs versus buying, what do you think they underestimate in terms of like the difficulty or the time it takes? And maybe possible examples of where you've seen people try to go their own way, then eventually come back, and what led to them coming back.
Of course. So the build versus buy, let's say differences or effects that take place between those two choices would usually start with the launch timelines. So with building your own, it can take from 12 to 24 months, which is a process. And by that time, you would have lost, as an operator, you would have lost some market share, some unique edge in terms of entering the market, because as I did mention, things change all the time. You might find the time that you are launching, the taxation is even higher. There's a whole lot of different things that have changed, and your platform still needs to adapt to these changes even before the final build. So yeah, those are certain elements that take effect. And then, of course, having an in-house team, it'll cost you even much more because that's ongoing maintenance. And yeah, those are elements that could be really challenging for beginners to start with. Even existing, let's say big brands, they still have challenges in terms of maintaining, retaining staff, that sort of thing. And all these things do impact the business at the end of the day. And then the other one would be scalability. So with a custom platform, you are able to scale. Yes, that's a good thing, but at the end of the day, it still costs you more. So there is, also a bit of good, but at the end of the day, it all needs to balance in between. And then lastly, of course, with the ready built solution, there's certain things that you don't need to stress about. Like, for example, you don't need to stress about compliance. You don't need to stress about, updates, upgrades, integration of third party content. So a lot of the things are already, built in, and you are just scaling based on marketing and just, pushing the business. So the two do have, as I did mention, they're two pros and cons, and those are the ones that I've really noticed.
Hmm. And I think of late we've been seeing a bit more of hybrid model. Do you want to share a bit on that? Like we're seeing people trying to strike a balance between the two, and what's that looking like in the African market particularly?
Yeah, so hybrid model is like a middle center where you're balancing the front end and the back end. So the front end is usually on that model is based on the operator's preference. They have a bit of more control on the front end. They can do certain changes. They can design the front end of the website as much as they want. And then on the back end, that's where you may be finding them using our solution, which is already certified, compliant, and already caters to the whole robust requirements of that particular market. We would, for example, say South Africa. We would say our platform is there, the front end is there, so it doesn't really need a lot of compliance and regulatory approval, but the back end is where we did all the hard work. We went through the licensing and certification, and yeah, you just launch swiftly and easily. So we break it down and give you less time to market, allowing them to focus on the core business, which is going to be the customers at the end of the day. So those are the main advantages, I would say, with the hybrid model at this point. So faster to launch and a lower risk to the operator. But at the end of the day, there's limited, customization on the back end because it's already built on an existing, platform.
So, you've mentioned so many things, especially around return on investment when you're looking at going to the market, how they make money fast, because if they enter the market at the right time, they can get their gain of the market share, at the right pace. So, because of that, let's talk a bit about return on investment. And right now, what do you think are the long term implication? And when I mean implication, I'm not talking about costs. I'm talking about, operation, margin pressure, and talent retention. What does that look like for, people who decide to buy versus, build?
So on my end, what we realized is that with the decision that is made based on building or buying, you need to understand, you need to have a budget based on those two. The building, it may cost you 2.5 million to 5 million euros per, build, just to build that single, platform. And that's just the building part. And then, of course, there's additional costs like, the ongoing, maintenance, support, and security, and added other, let's say, third party content that may be required to be integrated. So those add up quite fast, and that'll definitely put a dent on the, let's say, budget. And at the end of the day, every business needs to have a budget and stick to it. And then without a good budget, at the end of the day, there's no good business. So I believe personally, and from the experience that I've seen, that the budget is key. Number two, you need to have how do I even put it? A team of experts from developers, compliance, support. Yeah, you need a whole lot of structuring around that as well, which takes a lot of time, and that will definitely impact other priorities within that specific choice. And then, of course, with the other choice, which is just the rental or the leasing of the platform, what we offer is that you'll be deducting all these general startup costs, so you won't be spending 2.5 million to get it off the ground. It's already existing. We already have a team of support 24 hours a day. We already have a team of compliance, so you'll be piggybacking off our technology, and then just going into the market quite easy, and using all that budget to push the brand, grow the customer base, and make as much profit as possible. So that's as simple as I can put it.
I think you've put it perfectly well. And, we've mentioned a lot, you've mentioned a lot around speed of moving into the market. And we understand the market like iGaming space, the market share is very important. And this is sometimes, influenced by how quick you can package your product and come into the market. Would you say that, especially looking at the African market and the speed and in the moving fast nature of how we innovate in the space, would you say this makes operators to prioritize the speed of launch over probably proper customization and things like that, which is why they potentially can go for a buy option?
Yes, of course. That's really key. So first to market is usually, the market king, as I would put it. The first one to launch usually takes over the market, because they would have, solidified their brand. They would have, made those initial mistakes and rectified them. And they would have, started to stabilize their business along the way, whereby, a new, let's say, operator coming into the market, they're still learning how the market operates. They're still, having teething issues within their platform. They're still teaching their players how to use their platform. So by the time they are, more stable, the competitors would have been, progressing to other avenues or doing some other things that, the current operator would be starting to, learn based on whichever choice they've made, or building or buying. So those are the elements that, yeah, do come into play, of course.
Okay, so how do you now advise operators looking to move across multiple jurisdiction? For example, if you're launching in South Africa, I know you've said it earlier where you talked about how a platform like SoftSwiss can help you scale quickly. So if a platform is looking to, let's say, launch in those two regions at the same time, how does what kind of platform strategy would you encourage they adapt, or would you encourage they employ?
Yeah, so if an operator is looking to enter multiple markets, they need to align themselves with a partner or technical provider that is licensed in multiple jurisdictions, based on the fact that they have, an understanding of the market dynamics. Once they're certified, it means they already have, the market infrastructure, or the technology is suited to that specific market regulatory wise. And of course, they've invested, in terms of developing the solution to cater to that market. For example, with SOFTSWISS right now, we are certified as a B2B provider in Ghana, Nigeria, South Africa. So that shows you that we are truly focused on Africa, and we know what is required to get into the African market. So we're trying to make it as easy as possible for any of our partners that wants to get into Africa to just come in. We sign the agreement, we start, preparing the platform, and then we launch in a matter of weeks. So that's basically what we're trying to do. We're trying to make it as simple and efficient and easy as possible for operators to come into the African market.
So, from what you've said, I think one thing I've learned is how vast and experienced SoftSwiss is, especially looking at the African market. But I know there are also competitors in your niche. Specifically, what do you think differentiates a tech partner like SoftSwiss from others? And when I mean differentiate, I mean beyond, platform delivery. What value do you bring that operators may often overlook, especially in a market like Africa?
Right. So to start with, right now, Softsource has invested a lot in terms of integrating third-party content into our game aggregator. So meaning we are working with a lot of different game providers. So far, we've got 300 game providers integrated into our game aggregator. So that's approximately 30,000 games across various, verticals. It can be live casino, slots, crash games. It can be anything you can think of. So we basically are showing the market that we work with everybody and anybody based on, whatever value they provide. And we try and take that value and, put it into the marketplace, which has shown, that it really does work, the sort of strategy that we use. So, for example, with our game aggregator, we still work with our competitors. We can even plug it into our competitors' platforms based on what the operator requires. Because at the end of the day, our portfolio is incomparable to what all the other providers have. So it's an easy choice for operators to come to us to say, look, guys, I've got a platform. I've got it from this other, let's say, provider, but I need a game aggregator. I've seen your game aggregator. It's the biggest, it's the best. It also has, various third party and gamification, tools like Jackpot Aggregator, which works across all the games as well, across all different verticals at the same time. So our innovation is, indismissible at this point. So even our competitors are working with us. That's how big of an impact SoftSource has made.
That's interesting. Looking at that level of impact, and you as a business development manager, I know you have several case studies of where your product has helped project or operators to or partners. Let me use the word partners to launch or scale rapidly in Africa. I don't know if you can share with us, a case. You don't have to mention the name if it's something you don't want to share, but a case where your product has helped them scaled, what worked and what was critical to the success.
Of course, I'll start with let's say, a recent case. Right now, we are, currently working on in South Africa. It's going to be one of the biggest, brands to come into the African or the South African market. They've launched with our turnkey solution. They're doing some great marketing to start with at the moment. And yeah, I believe, the platform is quite functional towards, the African standards or the South African standards. And I believe there's still more that we're going to be implementing on that project. But so far, the progress seems to be on the right path. And we've got more lined up within the next few months again. There's a few more operators that are going to be, live in South Africa with our platform. And I believe everybody that's in the market right now truly knows that South Africa is not an easy market to get into as a provider or as an operator, but we've been able to do both. We've been able to get our platform in, and we've been able to get, our operator launched within this market. So, yeah, we are on the right path at this point, as I would put it.
Oh, okay. Before we move into, certain things, especially what your goals are looking at the African market, I think right now there's a whole lot of conversation around responsible gaming. I don't know. Do you guys have infrastructures, or does your infrastructure have systems that enable some of the things, especially around the regulatory conversation around responsible betting, especially in the iGaming industry in Africa. I know places like Kenya, they're kind of a bit strict about it. I don't know if you have a few things to say about that.
Oh, yes, of course. So, our solution or our platform truly caters, to an overall, approach in terms of the market. As I did mention, we do have some flexibility in certain aspects. But at this point, we do have, like certain, let's say, options that we provide to operators, like self exclusion. They can use that as one of the options in our back end, and then the players can be excluded for a limited amount of time or indefinitely based on whatever they choose between themselves, operator and player. So we do have that support on our end because we understand those options that we need to give to our partners.
Oh, nice. Looking at the African space from where, we've been, let's say even 5 years ago to where we are right now, it's been a huge, huge difference. There's like so much going on right now that we couldn't have even predicted, 5 years ago. What do you think the space would look like, especially in terms of the models to build on or to buy in the next 5 years? Looking at maybe in-house innovations or strategic partnership with partners like SoftSwiss.
So for me personally, in the next 5 years, I'm going to just go straight to it. I think the hybrid approach is going to be, something very popular where operators are going to want to have some sort of level of control, specifically maybe on the front end side of things, and then they'll give them some sort of flexibility to make certain changes, designing in terms of their banner front end, in terms of this is what we want to be shown as the first initial landing page. So there's that sort of thing that I've seen right now in the market. A lot of operators are using this approach, and I think there's going to be a popularity on that. And then of course, building, there's, yeah, the big guys are going to continuously just continue to build. That's how I generally see the next 5 years from my side.
Oh, that sounds like a lot. And I think also, I'm curious, there's so much going on around AI right now. Do you think that could potentially have any impact on how your models work or how operations, even in the iGaming industry, would work?
No, of course, AI can never be or will never be ignored at this point. It's too big to be ignored. It is already incorporated in certain, instances, but for us right now, there's not been really something that I can talk about. But we are definitely looking at AI in terms of, our platform, in terms of, making, the solution even better, much more efficient, and just overall taking advantage of how things work with AI, which simplifies a lot of manual or things that require repeated actions. So we are definitely on the lookout to see what we can do innovation wise. We've seen that with certain game providers right now that we've integrated into our game aggregator, where you can design the game based on just a few prompts. You just tell it, look, design a game for me that's going to have, for example, South African flag colors, a slot with multipliers up to 10,000, something like that. You can just click, 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 and then the game is already there. It's already certified under the same RNG. So there's, certain elements that we've seen, and we are already incorporating that in, small fractions. But I believe we're still going to be bringing out something exciting from our side in the next few months or so. Yes, as I would say.
Okay, I look forward to that. I can't wait to see what you come up with around that. I'm really excited already. And I think one more thing I've actually been curious of is if one is to partner with softwares, what does the flow look like? What does the process look like?
So generally, how we really just take it in an easy approach where it's more human interaction than anything else. We have a sit down, have a coffee, have a chit chat, understand what are you looking for, what are you looking to achieve, what we already have that's available. Do we need to build something for you? Is everything that we have sufficient to start? Can we develop something along? It depends on what the operator is initially looking for. If it's something that we can just plug and play, it's pretty straightforward. We align commercially. These are the commercials. This is the demo of the product. This is how it looks on the front end, back end. And then if you are happy, yeah, we go on into the dev part of it. After dev, we go live within a few weeks, and then yeah, everybody starts making money generally, but not really. They still need to do a lot of marketing. They still need to do a lot of marketing and yeah, other initiatives. But that's generally how the flow goes from our side.
No, that sounds very easy, smooth, and very user centered experience. And I think that is something most operators will find really helpful. And I think my final question is what's one myth? Because I know there are several myths around build versus buy. That's something we could go without ending, but just to talk about the myths. What's one myth you would like to about is building from scratch versus buying that you would like to correct or make right? Like it doesn't work that way.
Okay, so with building, the problem is a lot of let's say operators, they think you build it and that's it, it's done, and then you just make money forever. Unfortunately, that's not how it works. You're constantly going to be building it. You're constantly going to be building it. It can start from version 1.0 to version 20, version 100, version 1000. It'll depend on how many builds you're going to continuously, add on, changing, updating, upgrading. It never ends, basically. But with the buy option, it's easy because you don't even see that things are changing. You don't even see any of the, upgrades and updates. You just, wake up in the morning, you're like, oh, the system is looking fresh today. And then the money is just coming in. I believe, with the buy, it's easier to manage compared to the building. Building, it never ends. That's generally how I would put it. You don't just build once, you build forever.
That's interesting. Today I've learned so much just listening to you, especially around the build versus buy conversation. And I think for operators looking to build, there are so many things they would want to know. If one is to reach out to you, where or like, reach out to the team, where are they to do that and how do they get started?
So yeah, so generally we do have a LinkedIn page, SOFTSWISS LinkedIn page, which is very popular. That's the one that's constantly putting out all these wonderful market trends, and yeah, a lot of information is provided there. On my end, Aluwani Mukhudwana on LinkedIn, I'm available, and on Telegram as well at Aluwani. That's where I can be found. And of course, yeah, at industry events, I'm constantly attending all the time. So recently, I was attending Tanzania, Kenya, and then of course this upcoming few weeks I'll be in Durban for the Durban July. And yeah, hopefully in the future we'll see which events come up. I'll definitely pop by as well.
Oh, nice. So definitely, I'm sure a lot of people listening to this will definitely want to connect with you, and now they know how to do that. If you have like a bit of final words to anyone building, buying, this is the time.
No, of course. Yeah, so it depends on the budget. Focus on the budget. That's the main thing. A lot of operators just need to understand that you can be a prominent operator, for example, in different markets. But when it comes to Africa, you need to understand that Africa is different. It's unique. You need a solid partner that knows what they're doing, a partner that's been tested, trialed, and progressed a lot of certifications. Yeah, so a partner like SoftSwiss is the partner to be with. That's how I'd put it as my final say. And yeah, to building the next biggest African platform, yeah, it's SoftSwiss. Yeah, let's connect very soon.
Yeah, so I'm sure if you're an operator listening to this, you know exactly what to do. And that's it for today. It's been an amazing session. Thank you so much, Alwani, for taking our time to be with us. It's been very educating. And personally, I've learned so much just listening to you.
No, I was saying thank you very much for the time as well. It was really really impressive, good questions, and yeah, it made me sweat there and there. But yeah, you made it very easy, to just be calm and steady on that. Thank you.
Yeah, I look forward to having you back another time. Okay, goodbye, everyone.